Hey, I'm Kristin.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is Lost in a Closet,
a podcast where we tell each other scary stories of true crime, the paranormal, urban legends, and all things spooky.
So today we're covering a couple of Canadian serial killers. The Boozing Barber by me.
And then I'm doing the Internet Black Widow.
All right, so I got my sources from Wikipedia, an article written by Michelle Mandel in the Toronto Sun, Murderpedia, justcriminals.info, medium.com, firstnationsdrum.com, and Time Toast, which is like this beautiful website that had this amazing timeline to lay out like the events.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Handy.
It's so visual. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to talk about a serial killer that I actually never heard of in Canada somehow, despite being true crime obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know he was from Vancouver. And as I love to remind everyone, that is where I'm from. Like it's some sort of personality trait. But this guy had a very unique method of killing his victims. So honestly, shocked that I didn't notice it. But I also feel like a lot of serial killers, even in just in Canada in general, kind of got overshadowed by Robert Pickton in his case because of how monstrous and large that whole case was. Yeah, but sadly, this case bears a very similar resemblance when it comes to victims and sort of method and everything. And this is the case of Gilbert Paul Jordan, the Boozing Barber, as he's called.
The Boozing Barber.
Yeah, it makes him sound so like badass.
It's like
what's
cutesy.
That? Yeah. Or like, what's that movie?
Sweeney Todd. That's what it is.
Sweeney Todd. Yeah, the Barber one. I can.
Yeah,
the song.
Barber of Fleet Street.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. Except for this is the Boozing Barber of the east side of Vancouver. Yeah, the lower downtown east side of Vancouver.
Doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
No, not quite. It doesn't roll off the tongue. All right. So on October 12th, 1987, a 27-year-old woman was found naked and dead on a hotel room floor. It had been determined that she had died of alcohol poisoning. Her blood alcohol level was more than 11 times the limit for driving. Yeah. I tried to look into like how many drinks that would be because like I don't drink and I don't really know what it is. But apparently there's a lot of factors that determine that, like your weight and your height.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and it wasn't getting any even like sort of guesstimate. So, but I'm assuming that's a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
The victim was identified as Vanessa Lee Buckner. There's been conflicting reports on whether or not she was an Aboriginal woman. And the only reason I bring this up is because obviously there's a huge issue here in Canada with the abuse and murder of specifically Aboriginal women. And I think it just needs to be mentioned, especially because the majority, if not all, of his victims were women of Aboriginal descent here in Canada. Wow. Yeah. So then there were women who either had substance abuse issues, they were either sex workers, or just women in vulnerable situations. So Vanessa Buckner had recently lost custody of her newborn baby, who had been born with a drug and alcohol dependency. She was, and I quote, an alcoholic and a taker of various kinds of drugs. So her death did not seem that suspicious at first because of her history with drugs and alcohol. However, a month later, another woman was found dead in another hotel room with the exact same circumstances. That victim's name was Edna Shade. I tried to find, her age or any sort of other information, kind of honor the victims, but I could not find anything else about her.
That's weird. Normally you get like at least the age.
Right? I tried to find even like a memorial or something. It's like didn't exist, which is so sad.
That is really sad.
Other than her being his victim.
Yeah.
Gilbert was interviewed about the crime, but no charges were laid. His fingerprints were found at both scenes, and I believe even though that he wasn't yet charged in those deaths, it launched an investigation that uncovered a series of deaths that all seemed to have the same man in common. So now we go back in time. This is my attempt at storytelling. So Gilbert Paul Jordan was born Gilbert Paul L.C. in December 12th, 1931, or on December 12th, 1931, in Vancouver, BC. By the age of 16, he was an alcoholic and a high school dropout. At 21 years old, his criminal record included theft, assault, car theft, and heroin possession. So just like all around, bad start to life, not a great guy. Gilbert had an insatiable appetite for two things, alcohol and drunken sex.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So his character is just shining.
Can we just take a little side note? Because his name is Gilbert, so I'm literally just picturing Gilbert Godfrey when you're telling me these stories.
And it's making it a little bit funny.
I wish I could do a Wicked impression, but I cannot.
I know. Nobody can do that.
No. Or I was thinking of the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just Johnny Depp.
Yeah. By his own estimation, he was with over 200 women a year.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, that could be him being like over exaggerating.
Just him being a dick.
Yeah. Trying to
Which
seem like he's
have reason
cooler.
to believe that he was a bit of a dick.
Yeah. But honestly, like, I would also have reason to believe that that's not a gross exaggeration.
Yeah.
At all. But yeah, who knows? Maybe he was exaggerating.
Yeah.
It was also said that he was drinking over 50 ounces of vodka a day. Yeah, 50.
Oh my God.
So my math might be wrong because I did this really rough. Obviously, I can't do it perfectly. But I looked at the LCBO website, which is Ontario's liquor store website, for like a cheap bottle of vodka. And on average, they're about $40 for close to 50 ounces.
Yeah, that's expensive in Canada.
Yeah. And that's in today's money. Obviously, this was back in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So obviously prices have gone up. Yeah. But that's a minimum of $14,000 a year. A minimum.
Did he
on alcohol?
Probably not.
No, so I will get into how he funded his lifestyle in a minute.
Boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, not just that, but think of his liver. Like, this man must have looked like a character from The Simpsons. Like,
I know, he's probably just like preserved from the inside.
Pickled.
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, I did look into how he could afford his lifestyle, and I found out that during his many incarcerations, he actually learned the skill of barbery, learned how to be a barber.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
Yeah. So yeah, he learned the barber trade, and he opened a barber shop on the Vancouver's downtown east side, which I don't if you're not familiar, if you're listening, it's a part of the city that has extremely high levels of drug use, homelessness, poverty, crime, mental illness, sex work, like all of that. It's not a great part of town to be in. A lot of people avoid it. I remember as a teenager, I was waiting for the bus on the downtown east side with some friends because our P&E, like our fair park, roller coaster rides. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
like
kind of
fairgrounds?
like, yeah, it's at the end of that scuzzy street.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were waiting for a bus, and I was just staring up the road, like watching for the bus to come, right? Like not even thinking about it. And I guess this guy thought I was staring him down. Like, I'm 16 and I'm 5'3". How threatening can I be? And he just gets up in my face and he's just like,
"Welcome to the east side, bitch."
Like,
oh my God. And you're like peeing your pants. Like,
yeah. Yeah. But it was nice. I had a warm welcome to the city.
Yeah.
You know, it's home.
You're like a local now.
I'm a local, yeah. They know me by name.
Lucky you.
Yeah. But not just his barbershop. He actually inherited a lump sum of money that he invested into the stock market and made a fortune. So he's just one of those assholes that made money, and there you had it.
Yeah.
Here's a quote from the medium.com article. He had enough money to open his barbershop, keep him absolutely pickled in alcohol, and afford a good lawyer. That last part's pretty important.
God.
So here is the laundry list of this man's crimes. In 1961, he was arrested for kidnapping a 5-year-old First Nations girl. The girl was found safely in his car, far from her reserve, and he was just charged with abduction, but never convicted. So you gotta love our justice system.
Oh my God.
It fucking gets worse, man. Later in the year, he again made headlines as he held up traffic by threatening to jump off the Lions Gate Bridge in Vancouver while in a drunken stupor. So that's great. He was also held in contempt of court for giving the judge a Nazi salute. This man, like, I want to know if he was dropped on his head as a kid or like,
yeah, it's like the alcohol.
Like, just this goes on.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In 1963, he lured 2 women into his car, robbed and then raped them both. I believe they both survived. I'm assuming there was no talk of death. But he was convicted of theft, but acquitted of the rape.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I lose so much faith in Canada sometimes when I read these stories.
I know.
All right. In 1965, a switchboard operator by the name of Ivy Rose Doreen Oswald had been out drinking for the night with Gilbert. Her nude body was later found in a Vancouver hotel with a blood alcohol content of 0.51. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't know what that means in terms, but I think it's high. I think it's worth mentioning. But apparently that it's 6 times higher than the legal driving limit and almost double what the experts called the danger zone, which I I cannot help but go danger zone every time I hear that.
Welcome to the.
Yeah, but not funnily. This is apparently where you can die of alcohol poisoning,
God.
which is yeesh.
Yeah.
At the time of her death, it was ruled an accident, and again, he received no charges. So I cannot get over how much this man's gotten away with unpunished.
Yeah,
Like,
that's insane.
He was in and out of jail a lot, but like very short stints. I think that this is kind of the start of his murder career. This death. I feel like this one actually might have been a legit accident, or maybe he was like just pushing her to see how far he could get her to drink.
Mhm.
And I think like with him getting away with this might have been like the starting point of like, oh shit, like I can do this.
What's frustrating too is like a lot of the stuff that he's already done up until this point, like he should be in jail for. And I don't know how many people he ended up killing, but like so many people I'm sure could have been saved if they had have just put him in jail.
Yeah.
Kept him in jail.
And I hate to say it, but
So,
it gets so much worse. Like it's just, yeah. It like I was shaking my head constantly while I was doing the research because I'm like, he got how much time for this?
yeah.
Like that's it. Part of me feels like this death was the start of it, like the start of his murder serial killer career, just because like he chose victims where the police didn't care about them. They didn't want to investigate. They're like, well, because they were sex workers or they were Indigenous women or,
Yeah.
you know, they were known to be drunk addicts or whatever. So
They're
it's
still
really
humans.
sad. Oh, absolutely.
Like, they
That's
still count.
that's still a problem to this day. Like,
Yeah.
especially now with the overdose epidemic that's going on.
Yeah.
All right. So a few days after this Ivy Rose's murder, Gilbert Paul Elsie changed his name to Gilbert Paul Jordan. So he likes to try and hide. Sounds like he's not very
Not very
trying
well.
very hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
In 1969, he was charged with drunk driving twice in the same day. How do you like? I know this is 1969, so things are different. But I thought they took your car away now.
Yeah, they should.
And your license, I don't know. I
Like
guess it
what?
doesn't
He got
stop.
pulled over the first time and he's like, oh yeah, okay, you're drunk. Here's your ticket. Go ahead and drive home. Like, what?
Right? Unless he like took him to the station and then he got out and like just immediately starts driving again. I mean, this was this, you know, close to the 70s, so it was a
Yeah,
different,
so who cares?
it's a different world back then.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah. In Vancouver in 1971, he was charged with committing an indecent act in a public space, but the charges were dropped. Doesn't say
course
what,
they
but
were.
I'm assuming it's going to be sexual. In Mackenzie, BC in 1973, he was convicted of indecent exposure. Again, this just goes on. It just goes on. In Prince George in BC in 1974, so these are like yearly increments, it sounds like, he was convicted of indecent assault and sentenced to 2 years in prison. So finally, you know,
2 whole years.
2 whole
You know?
years. Yeah. The Crown Council wanted to declare him a dangerous sexual offender upon his release in 1976, but the request was denied in court. And that is because he had a very good lawyer because he could afford it. And the lawyer just squashed it. So like what that tells me is like it just further proves like the rich just get whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So in April of that same year, 1976, Gilbert was examined by Dr. Tibor Bezeridi. Sorry, don't know if I said that right.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry to anyone. It was a part of the court proceeding, and so Dr. I'm going to call him Dr. B. Dr. B diagnosed Gilbert with having antisocial personality, which at first it made me laugh because I was like, me.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually like it's he describes it as a person whose conduct is maladjusted in terms of social behavior and like disregard for the rights of others and often results in like unlawful activities. So not me.
Let's just set that one clear.
Yeah. So not long after his release, Gilbert was convicted of kidnapping a woman from a mental institution and raping her. His charges included kidnapping and, this is the official court wording, not my own, sexual intercourse with a feeble-minded person. And he was sentenced to 26 months. So I'm sorry, but he goes to jail and immediately gets out of jail and reoffends. Where is our justice system? What is happening?
God.
I mean, I want to say it's gotten better, but I honestly don't think so.
I don't think it has.
Yeah. All right. So now timeline wise, we're back at the start of the story, October 12th, with the death of Vanessa Buckner.
Okay.
Gilbert took sex worker Vanessa Lee Buckner into the Down Market Niagara Hotel in Vancouver, and her nude body was discovered the next morning after an anonymous call to the police. Turns out the anonymous call was traced back to Gilbert's room at a nearby hotel. So he's not very bright.
No.
And then a month later, when that Edna Shea died with the same exact circumstances, I think the police were finally like, oh shit. We better start watching this guy.
Maybe take this seriously.
Yeah, because I think they found his prints in both the hotel rooms.
Okay.
On like bottles of vodka and glasses and other paraphernalia to do with alcohol. Yeah, exactly. So in the next 15 days after they found Edna Shade's body, the police watched him as he saw out First Nations women and attempted to poison 4 different women. But luckily, each time the police intervened and they were saved. So the police did save 4 women. And according to the court records, police listening outside the hotel rooms heard Gilbert say such things as, have a drink, down the hatch, baby, $20 if you drink it right down. See if you're a real woman, finish that drink.
Oh my God.
He was basically like bribing them, being like, drink that whole thing, I'll give you $50. You're not a real woman, like all that shit.
Oh my God.
Like, so disturbing. Yeah. So finally, on November 23rd, 1987, the police arrested him when they caught him in the act on top of an unconscious woman trying to force vodka down her throat in a hotel room. They busted the door open. They caught him in the act. Finally, were able to catch him. Mm-hmm. So during his trial for that, the Crown presented evidence that Gilbert was also connected to 6 other women at the time of their death. That's right.
Oh my God.
6 other murders that had the same exact formula. All these First Nations women found in hotel rooms nude and had died of alcohol poisoning, essentially. So I'm gonna name them all out right now. So we have Mary Johnson, who died November 30th, 1980. She was found in a hotel with her blood alcohol level of 0.34. Barbara Paul on September 11th, 1981. Found again in a hotel room with a blood alcohol level of 0.41. Mary Johns, July 30th, 1982. This is where I kind of get lost. It says his barber shop, and she had a blood alcohol level of 0.76. Patricia Thomas, December 15th, 1984, in his barber shop with a blood alcohol of 0.51. Patricia Andrew, June 28th, 1985, in his barber shop. Again, blood alcohol level of 0.79. And then Vera Harry, November 19th, 1986, in a hotel room with a blood alcohol level of 0.04. So what confuses me is 3 women died in his barbershop and nothing was ever investigated.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think that's why he probably thought this was the perfect crime, because these women all had issues with alcoholism, and so they were just like, yep, she just died on her own accord. With this guy who's killed, or who's had 2 other people die in the same barber shop.
What horrible luck for him.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. So that was his hunting area. I also wanted to mention that his hunting area was the same hunting area that Robert Pickton had a few years later. So these poor women that are basically forced to be in this situation had no chance to survive. They were just victims.
That's so sad.
So yeah, that's what he did. He would find these women in bars already drinking. Like, he kind of tell if they were pretty drunk already and they were probably looking for money or a good time, and he would take them back to either his barbershop or a hotel and then do with what he wanted, and then shoved alcohol down his throat.
I wonder, do you know if his barbershop was like he lived above it kind of thing? Or do you know if he
I wouldn't be surprised because of the way like the buildings can be down there.
Okay.
It didn't really say where he lived specifically, so very well could have been living in his barbershop too.
Okay, because that kind of makes sense. Like, if the rest of them he killed like in hotel rooms.
I think he stayed in hotel rooms a lot. Like, that's a big thing that happens down there, especially, is there's a lot of hotel rooms that people basically just live in permanently.
Right.
And he had money, like I said, but he basically just blew it all on alcohol.
Yeah. And
his lawyer. So Gilbert couldn't be charged with the other deaths, the 6 women that I just mentioned, that was assumed that he caused, for, I'm assuming, lack of evidence. It doesn't say why, but 3 of them occurred in his barbershop. I don't know how they couldn't tack that on, but
yeah.
So he was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the death of Vanessa Lee. So he was, 15 years. That's still not a lot to me for a murder. But that was reduced to 9 years on appeal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it gets worse. He was later released after 6 years.
Oh my God.
6 years for not only killing that one woman, but 6 others minimum. I'm thinking there's more, obviously.
Yeah.
I love Canada, but like our justice system, though, it seems whack just a little bit. I wish I could say that this was the extent of this man's crimes.
Oh no, I thought you were done.
I really wish I could stop the story here.
Oh my God.
It keeps going, you guys. This man was a monster.
Oh my God.
So after his release in June of 2000, which like feels so recent, but no, he was charged with sexual assault, negligence causing bodily harm, and possession of alcohol. So how was he released after 6 years?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Gilbert also tried to change his name to Paul Pierce. So apparently at the time, there weren't fingerprinting and criminal record checks were not required in BC to have your name changed. And during the process that he tried to change his name, I know, the police realized what he was doing and they closed that loophole. He actually ended up dropping the application because he knew he wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
But like, I cannot believe that. Like, if he had successfully changed his name.
That's crazy.
In 2002, again, Gilbert was arrested on being in breach of his probation for drinking and being in the presence of a woman while in the possession of alcohol. He was sentenced to 15 months in jail and 3 years probation. So 15 months in jail is nothing. Like, how does this?
No, it's really not.
In 2004, he was found in violation of that probation while in Saskatchewan. He was binge drinking at a hotel with a woman named Barb Berkeley, who was found to be in very bad condition. She ended up, I believe, surviving, but like it was touch and go. And Gilbert was acquitted of those charges in 2005. And so in 2005, after that, the RCMP issued a public warning to where he was living at the time, which was Saanich on Vancouver Island, just being like, there is a very bad man. And I think that's after that public warning, I think he stopped. And he was getting a little old because in 2006, he finally died at the age of 74. His reign of drunken terror was finally over. So now I can say the story's over. It doesn't keep going, but
yeah,
I was just floored.
Like, just stop, you know?
He clearly did not care, had no concern for life. I didn't put any of the quotes in, but he showed no remorse during any of his trials. He basically said that they had what was coming to them and that we're all going to die anywais, was a quote.
Okay, so we should all just let you kill us.
Yeah, I'm going to die eventually. You know, I'm going to live like 80 good years. Like,
oh my God.
I don't just want the 20 something. Well, actually, I'm 30, but you know.
That's insane.
Yeah. I cannot believe I've never heard of this guy.
I know. Maybe
like the boozing barber, like, and honestly, it's so fascinating his method of killing people. I bet you he felt like he had no blood on his hands because it was the alcohol that murdered them.
Yeah. Despite
him literally being caught shoving it down unconscious women's throat.
That's horrible.
Yeah. But
God.
And just
these ones are heavy.
They are heavy, and this is honestly why
okay, whatever.
I know it's hard to make jokes and make fun of it in light of it. It's not easy to do, but yeah. So that was the boozing barber, Gilbert Paul Jordan.
A funny name. I love that we give serial killers nicknames. Like, I think that's so funny.
I saw a tweet though the other day that was pretty funny, where it was like we should stop giving them like cool superhero-y ones and call them like Small Dick Harry or like you know, like things that are more insulting rather than
like the Zodiac. Like they're too cool.
They're too cool. Or like even the Golden State Killer, like it sounds cool. Like no, let's call them like fucking bald ass Harry. Like I don't know, like let's be mean about it. They're murdering people.
I love that. That's so funny. We should start doing that. We'll just make up our own names.
I did read a thing that I was going to mention because a lot of people refer to serial killers as like 3 names, like you know, Gilbert Paul Jordan, and then there's the only other one I could think of at the time was John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah,
and I had read that was because like it's to kind of not dehumanize them, but basically because Gilbert Jordan could be such a common name.
Yeah, I feel like it almost like protects people that have like this first and last name as them.
Yeah, and if you have the same like all 3 names, you're just that's unlucky.
Sorry,
but,
you're
so I was gonna mention that, which I am now, but I couldn't find any other names that had 3. Like,
there's definitely Joe Gacy is like the most.
That's the most. And then I was looking up all the other ones. I'm like, no, it's just Ted Bundy. It's just
yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I wanted to say Gilbert Paul Jordan because just in case there's a poor guy out there named Gilbert Jordan or
yeah. Also, if your name's Gilbert, I'm just sorry.
Yeah.
That name. Okay, so I did Melissa Ann Russell, also known as the Internet Black Widow, which cute little nicknames for.
Yeah.
My sources for this were Murderpedia was like the main one. I got like the entire timeline from Murderpedia because it's amazing. And then also just Wikipedia for like general information about her.
Murderpedia is great. I didn't realize it at the time when I was doing research. I realized it today when I was closing all my tabs that they have just every article that has. I was like, I could have just done all my research here.
I know, like that's all you need, really. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I remember reading that as a teenager. Like that's probably what sparked a lot of my true crime obsession was finding that website.
I love it. Okay, so Melissa Ann Russell was born on May 16th, 1935 in Burnt Church, New Brunswick, which is so funny.
That's a town name?
Yeah, Burnt Church.
No story required. I kind of am caught up.
Yeah, great. And that's it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1953, she moves to Ontario. I couldn't find anything exciting about her childhood. 1953, she moves to Ontario to live with her aunt, and she completed high school through evening correspondence at Stafford College, which I think is in Toronto. She met a factory worker named Russell Shepard in 1955. And they got married and they had 2 kids together. And then between 1970 and 1985, she's charged with over 30 counts of fraud and forgery. So she went ballsy. 100.
Yeah.
And that was in Ontario and PEI. So for the fraud and forgery, she spends 5 years in jail. November 1985, she's released.
Can I just say she just spent more time in jail for fraud than almost like the murder of the women of the last.
Yeah, isn't that insane?
Yeah,
just insane.
That's the priority here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna kill people? Okay, that's fine.
That's fine. But dare you steal my money?
Yeah, don't
whatever.
Touch the money. After she's released, she goes back to PEI, and in 1988, she meets a widower named Gordon Stewart, and they begin a relationship while she's still married to Russell Shepard.
All right.
In 1990, she gets married to Gordon in Vegas, which I don't know how that happens if you're still married. She probably lied.
Yeah.
But I don't.
In the 90s, I feel like that couldn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like that's pretty recent.
Or like maybe in the States, like they can't look up if you've been previously married in another country.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know.
I'm just talking out my ass right now. So
apparently they did it. Like they got married in Vegas, and then they had another ceremony in like Vancouver. So.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they had like a friend do it. December 23rd, 1990, Gordon, so her new husband, becomes delusional. And 2 hours later, he's found frothing at the mouth on the floor in their PEI apartment. And, okay, let me not mess this up. Benzodiazepine, I think is how you say it, which is a tranquilizer. It's like and like that kind of stuff.
I'm not the person to correct you on
pronunciation. That was found in his system.
So it's a tranquilizer, you said.
Yeah, but it's like Valley. Like I think probably.
Okay.
She.
Yeah, give me like the street name.
Her. I think it's like just Valium was found in the system. Okay, but he didn't die. In 1991, he pleads guilty to assaulting Melissa and serves time in jail.
So he's not innocent either.
I guess not. Yeah.
Oh shit! Is this one of those? Oh man, one of those like Black Widow situations where you actually kind of root for her.
I don't. You might.
Okay.
It gets better. Okay, April 20th, 1991. Melissa and Gordon moved to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. April 27th, 1991. So 1 week later, Melissa runs over Gordon on a deserted road.
With her car?
Yep. Reports his death 3 hours later. And once again, that same drug, the benzodiazepine, is found in his system. He wasn't prescribed it. And then once he's dead, Melissa, shocker, applies for pension benefits from the National Defense. Shocking. In May of 1991, so a month later, the divorce of Russell is finalized. So her first husband, after she's been married to the other guy for...
I wonder if she couldn't divorce him because she was married twice, and she's like, I'll kill one, I'll divorce the other.
Yeah, like fresh start.
Yeah.
Clean slate. No idea.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay, so the divorce is finalized in May 1991. May 26, 1992, Melissa is convicted of manslaughter in the death of Gordon Stewart. He was only 44, which is really sad.
Oh, that's young.
August 20th, 1992, Melissa is sentenced to 6 years in jail, and she's sent to the women's prison in Kingston. Which is
call back.
So yeah, she was sentenced to 6 years in 1994. So 2 years later, she's released from prison with full parole. In April of 2000, I don't know what she did between those times, but it was quiet. So
I'm doubtful.
Didn't get caught doing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
April 2000, Melissa meets Robert Frederick, I think is how you say it. It's like a very German spelling of it. Who is a widower. He's a retired engineer living in Florida. They meet him at a Christian retreat. And she, oh my God, this is ridiculous. She sends him a letter saying, God wants us to be married with a photo.
So it's that easy.
Yeah, that's in April of 2000. In June of 2000, they get married.
What? All these people are going about Tinder all wrong.
Oh my God, I know. Like,
wrong.
This isn't the only one, too. It's just like, oh, we're married? Okay, great.
How is that real?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I do not know. Okay, so that's June 2000 that they got married after knowing each other for, 2 months? 3 months?
Oh my God.
In March 2001, Robert's family notices he's been getting sick a lot and spending a lot of time in the hospital. In 2002, I don't know the date of 2002, but Robert rewrites his will, making Melissa the sole beneficiary.
Ooh, red flag.
Yeah. And then December 16th, 2002, Robert dies from cardiac arrest, in quotes, but the doctor never examined the body.
Fuck. I feel like that's so common when it comes to like older
Yeah.
people, right? Like
Yeah.
heart attacks, it's heart attack. He was fat, he was old, whatever. Like,
Yeah. But I mean, look at his wife's past. Like maybe factor that in a little bit.
Right.
So Melissa continues to cash his social insurance checks that are in his name. There's no autopsy.
So that's fraud there, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I think it is because once you die, you don't get any
yeah,
more
you shouldn't keep getting
payouts. Yeah.
So the no autopsy was done on him, no toxicology reports, like nothing was done. They just ruled it cardiac arrest and that was it. October 2004, Melissa gets a visit from the RCMP because I guess she's back in Canada now.
She's got to be elderly at this point. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of the timeline.
She's 85 right now.
She's a grandmother.
So, yeah. Yeah. October 2004, RCMP visit her at her home to talk about her involvement in an old age security fraud thing, obviously. November 2004, so the next month, the RCMP prepared to lay charges on her, but she drives to Florida to meet Alex, I don't know how you say his last name, Strategos, Strategos. I don't know.
Yeah. Goss, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. He's a 73-year-old divorced man who she met on AmericanSinglesDating.com.
But she's Canadian. That's not allowed.
Yeah, I know. So there's another lie.
Yeah.
So that's November, like beginning of November. November 5th, 2004, she gets to Florida. She has dinner with Alex and also moves into his house the same night.
Oh my God.
The same night again, Alex is taken to the hospital after falling down the stairs and hitting his head. Or falling.
She's wasting no time between these.
I know.
Good Lord.
So over a 2-month period, Alex is in the hospital 8 times after she's moved in. December 28th, 2004. So this is like a month and a half after they met. Alex signs over power of attorney to Melissa. And then in January 2005, Alex's son, Dean, sees unprescribed that same drug,
benzos.
We'll
just call them. Yeah.
In Alex's medical report and blood tests. And he also notices that there's $18,000 missing from Alex's bank account.
This woman must have had a silver tongue. How?
I know. It's
or our Americans. No, I'm not even gonna say it.
I think we're thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so January 6th, 2005, Melissa is arrested and charged with exploitation of the elderly, theft, and forgery. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
February 1st, 2005, the RCMP issue a warrant for Melissa's arrest. She's charged with defrauding the government of Canada for the amount of $30,348.54 over a 4-year period.
That's not a lot considering.
It's not a lot, but I mean, still don't do it.
Wrong. But like, if she's gonna defraud, you might as well defraud.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then March 14th, 2005, Melissa pleads guilty to 7 charges related to Alex's case, which include 3 counts of grand theft from a person 65 years or older, 2 counts of forgery, and 2 counts of using a forged document. And then as part of a plea agreement, she's sentenced to 5 years in jail.
Jeez. Imagine going to jail at that age.
No. After those 5 years, which I guess she actually did spend. Because April 4th, 2009, she's released from prison in Florida and she's deported back to Canada, where she's living in an old age home and staying out of trouble.
Really?
Yeah, I guess. September 2012, she's charged with an attempted murder and administering a noxious thing, which I think we all know is that exact same drug again.
Yeah. September 2012. That is so, like, I don't want to say recent because it's not, but still.
It's pretty recent, yeah.
Yeah.
So she was charged after her new husband, once again, Fred
What are we on, husband number 5?
I think 5. There's
Yeah.
didn't die. The only one that didn't die. I think this is 5.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I don't know.
That we know of.
Yeah. So Fred Weeks suddenly fell ill at a bed and breakfast in Cape Breton in late September of 2012, I guess. The couple had been married just a few days before the 75-year-old fell ill, is what it says.
She has no chat, like, just no frame of...
Like, take a couple weeks.
years, you know, milk it a little, make it seem believable.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't want to tell you how to do
in and
your
out.
job.
So June 10th, 2013, she pleads guilty to administering the noxious thing and failing to provide necessity of life for her husband. October 31st, 2016, which is what all of those things are talking about, like the article that like showed up on Facebook and stuff that you sent me.
Yeah, that's so funny how we both saw that article.
Yeah. On October 31st, 2016, she had to sign a peace bond. So now she is required to report to police of any potential relationship she has with a man. She has to keep authorities aware of where she's living and report weekly to the police and inform them of any changes to her appearance. So they can like really track her now.
Wow.
Yeah. So now she's like 85, just living her life, not in jail.
I'm so curious because you said she had kids, like she's probably got grandkids or maybe even great grandkids.
Yeah, I wouldn't let them anywhere.
Could you imagine, like, yeah, grandma's pretty badass. Like,
yeah,
she's murdered a few.
She just murdered a couple guys.
Damn it, I was really hoping she's gonna be one of those women that, like, you know, murdered her abusive husbands, but she straight up was just
the
awful.
one apparently
Yeah.
had abused her that we know of anyway.
Jesus.
So she has been like highlighted, I guess. She's been highlighted in a couple of
Featured?
TV, featured.
Okay.
A couple of shows. So in 1994, she appeared in a documentary called When Women Kill. The investigation show Deadly Women, which I think that I've watched.
I think the other one's on Netflix too, or it's like a
be.
new version of it.
Yeah, it could be. Investigation Discovery has a series called Deadly Women, which I've definitely watched.
Same.
She was in season 8, episode 11. It's called For the Money, Honey.
I'm gonna have to go watch that now.
I know, I wanted to watch it, but I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, she was the subject of an episode of the Investigation Discovery Channel series Web of Lies. So she's got her 15 minutes.
Wow. That's insane.
I know. Isn't that nuts?
The sheer like gall of her to just
The one that really gets me is we met online. I'm gonna drive to Florida, move into your house, and then like
I like the one where she literally just mails someone. God thinks we should be together. I'm coming for you, Jeff Bezos. God thinks we need to be together.
God,
give me your money.
It's so funny. I mean, it's not funny because people died, but like,
oh no, I know. We only laugh because it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. That's
messed up, though.
Yeah, it is bad.
That's another one that I never heard of until I saw the article on Facebook, and I immediately sent it to you. I was like, one of us has to cover this.
Yeah, no, it's so funny.
Yeah.
And she looks like such a sweet old lady.
Yeah, I saw it was like a mugshot or just a picture, and I was like, that just is a grandma.
I know.
She's gonna give you Werther's original. Like,
yeah, she drives a Buick, probably.
A beige Buick.
That was my first car. I had my papa's car after he passed away.
Oh,
beige. That's 2006 Buick Allure. It was my favorite.
That's so funny because anytime we see, like, especially a beige Buick on the road, and it's one of two people. It's either the old people that bought it and are still driving it, or young people who've inherited it.
Yeah. See.
I don't think anyone would anyone over the or under the age of 70 would buy one of those.
No, but you know what? It rides like a freaking cloud. Like, it's so
no way.
Cool. Oh, I miss my Buick. I had to give it up like a year and a half ago, but
oh no,
it's so great. Anyway, so that's the Internet Black Widow.
That's crazy.
Kind of a short one, but oh my god.
I like how she's considered internet, and that was kind of like the start of the internet too during that time period.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's insane. How much I feel like she did more time than the murderer I covered.
Oh yeah. Oh
awful.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
It's just
that's. I mean, she got time for not the murders. I'm assuming, right? It was all for the.
For fraud. Yeah.
Fraud.
Like
yeah.
The first fraud and forgery. She had 5 years.
I love so much
years for killing Gordon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it though. Was that in Florida or was that the one in Canada? I think that was Florida because she got.
I think that was Florida.
Which isn't that long.
No, it's really not.
Why are we giving people these short sentences and then people with like marijuana possession, say for example, get like life?
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, she was in prison in Florida for Alex.
Oh, right. One of the other husbands.
One of the other ones.
That's sad because those men were vulnerable too. Like we say women are vulnerable, but like those men were in situations where they're like,
yeah,
a woman wants to talk to me. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was married 5 times and killed her 5 husbands.
That first husband's like, whew, he's like, whew, dodged a bullet. Literally.
Oh my God. Big time.
Or a car.
Big time. Oh dodged the Valium.
I always wonder too, like you said, I think her first murder was the car that she ran over. I wonder if that was accidental and then she's just like,
I don't think so. I think she ran over him twice. Like she did it and then backed up.
Oh no.
I'm pretty sure I read that.
Like, hey honey, I got a flat tire.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, bad news. Bad news.
Well, those are 2 very not so wonderful Canadian serial killers.
Yeah. It's funny. Like you hear a lot about, I mean, obviously like the big ones, like the Ted Bundys and John and stuff, but you really, even living in Canada, like we both lived here our entire lives.
Yeah.
I never heard of either of them. And like,
that's just another example of how American media just takes over Canada. Like, with the election this last week and everything, like that's all anyone talked about up here. It's not even our country. Like,
I mean, yeah, it does affect us quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like that's all you hear about.
That's all. Yeah. And then American television, American, bands, music. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I'm like, let America have all the serial killers.
Yeah, exactly.
Let us be,
it's fine.
Innocent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. Those are good. Those are 2 good stories. Like, wow. It's hard to believe that stuff exists and that there's people out there that have their reasonings for doing it. And it's just insane.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, it kind of makes it seem more real to you because it's like, okay, she went to school in like Toronto. Like, that's like 4 hours from where we live. Like, it's like, it makes it so close to home. The ones in the States, at least you're like, oh, whatever. It's a different country.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it makes it so like, oh my God. And like, you've been to the place where he would like kill all the people. Like,
I know I meant to do it last night and I got distracted, but I wanted to look up the exact location of where his barber shop was to see if I walked by it or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure you probably did.
Oh, probably. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I definitely never made a point of going in that part of Vancouver often.
Yeah.
People argue that it's not safe and other people say it's completely safe. But for me, it's like the last time I went there, I definitely saw, people who are like, are they dead? Because they're sitting on a bus bench and they've got a needle hanging out of their arm.
Oh my God.
It's just somewhere you definitely avoid.
Yeah.
Ugh, and it's so sad because it's a problem. It's a problem that
big time
Vancouver is not really addressing very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Yonge Street in Toronto, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. No good.
Yeah, it's easier to, make jokes about a old granny murderer, but
yeah. But even still that, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What?
I just have a hard time. I just think of like my grandma. I'm like,
I know.
Could you murder? Like
I know. That's really crazy. But I mean, it exists, clearly.
Yeah.
Good to know that it exists, because then you can kind of be like, okay, it's not just like middle-aged white men that are.
Yeah, right. We always give them the.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, rightly
A
so.
lot of them are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Until next time.
Stay spooky.